Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome back to my channel, Building a Business. So at this point, I'm about 99% sure that I'm going to be purchasing my first property through a turnkey company. And I know turnkey companies get a really bad rap, and I know I'll get pushback for deciding to go with one of them. But in this video, I want to discuss the pros and cons of turnkey companies and why I specifically chose to use them for my specific situation. And of course, yours will be different, so I'm not saying that you should do what I'm doing. I'm just explaining why it makes sense in my situation. So briefly, a turnkey company is essentially a company that will sell you a rent-ready property. That means that the company purchased the property, put time and money into renovating it up to a standard that's acceptable for that market area, and is now selling it to you. So I think most people would agree that the biggest pro for good turnkey companies is that it saves you a lot of time and is pretty darn convenient. The company put in the time and energy and money to find the property and to renovate it so that you don't have to. Now, of course, you still need to put time and energy in yourself into doing due diligence, not just on the property that you're purchasing, but also the company you're purchasing it from to make sure it has a good reputation and is one of the better turnkey companies. The second pro is experience, especially if you're a brand new investor that's out of state. Working with a company that has a lot of experience is great because they know that market super well if they're doing hundreds, if not thousands of deals in that market. And so part of what you're paying for is their experience, their knowledge, and their ability to find the properties that will become good rentals. A third benefit of using a good turnkey company is that they have a ton of local connections. They know contractors, they likely know financing options, different mortgage brokers, they know good, well-established property management companies. And actually, for a lot of the really best turnkey companies, they provide a lot of this in-house. They may have contractors or property managers in-house that work for them, so you don't even have to worry about that yourself. A fourth benefit is that your property may come rented already. Vacancies can really eat away at your cash flow, and so if you're able to purchase a property that already has a renter in it, then you'll be making a profit from day one. Now this sounds great, but of course there's also a downside. A lot of turnkey companies may just rush through it and put in any tenant so that it looks good on paper that you'll be making an income from day one. However, that tenant might not be qualified or might not be a good tenant, and it may cause you more harm than benefit in the long run. So if there is a tenant in place, just make sure that you really trust that your turnkey provider did it as much as they could to ensure that they placed a good tenant in your property. So the fifth pro is an easy diversification into different markets. A lot of the bigger turnkey providers have lots of different cities that you can purchase your properties in. And this is really appealing to me because once I've done the due diligence and I'm confident that I've purchased my first property with a really good turnkey company, then I can more easily expand into other cities and use the same turnkey provider that I already know and trust. And I think this helps in diversifying my portfolio so that if one specific city that I have a property in starts to really struggle, at least I have properties in other cities that can hopefully make up the difference. So before you get too excited about turnkey properties, I definitely have to mention the cons, which there are many of. So the first con is that you're likely not getting a great deal on your property. The turnkey companies themselves have to make a profit, and so they likely got the property at a pretty good deal, but that's probably not going to translate to you. They're probably going to take the profit, and most likely you'll be paying approximately what the home is actually worth. Now, I definitely wouldn't recommend paying more than the home is worth, but if you're thinking that you can get a property for $20,000 under whatever the market price is probably just not going to happen. The second con is that there will likely be little to no opportunity for forced appreciation. This is because the whole idea behind the turnkey company is that they're doing that forced appreciation for you. Because of these two factors and potentially a few others, we get to our third con, which is that you likely aren't going to get amazing returns. Certainly you can get good returns if you purchase the right property from the right turnkey provider. But if you know what you're doing, you can definitely get better returns through purchasing properties on your own. Con number 4 is that you likely won't have a ton of appreciation. In general, the turnkey providers work in markets that don't see a ton of appreciation. And so if you're focusing on cash flow, this may not be a big issue for you. But if you're really interested in appreciation, maybe turnkey companies aren't your best option. The fifth con is a lack of control. Part of what makes rental real estate so exciting is the amount of control you have over it in comparison to other investment options. That being said, when you purchase from a turnkey company, you are likely giving up a lot of that control to them. If they know what they're doing and you don't, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something to keep in mind. The sixth, and in my opinion, the biggest issue with turnkey companies is that there are a lot of really bad, shady turnkey companies out there. These companies prey on out-of-state investors who don't know what they're doing and blindly trust whatever numbers and information the turnkey provider is giving them. You have to do your due diligence on your turnkey provider. You should research them to make sure that their past clients were satisfied. And I would do this by going on to Bigger Pockets and looking up what people have said about them on their forums. I wouldn't put much weight into whatever reviews the turnkey company may have on their website because they have control over what gets posted on there and what doesn't. Of course, you should also analyze the property using your own numbers. Instead of just assuming whatever numbers the turnkey company has provided to you are correct, they're often going to fudge the numbers to make sure it looks like a better deal than it is. So be aware of this and make sure they aren't tricking you. Make sure to get an inspection and an appraisal of your property before purchasing it, and make sure that the people that are doing these inspections and appraisals were not recommended to you by the turnkey company and instead are independent and will hopefully give you unbiased reports. From what I've seen, many experienced investors shy away from turnkey providers because they know they could get a better deal on their own, whereas the newbie investors tend to flock towards the turnkey providers because it seems comparatively easy and less risky. Obviously, the experienced investors likely know a lot more, and so yes, I agree with them that you can get a much better deal on your own. However, that being said, I don't have any experience right now, and I don't trust that I can find a really good deal on my own. And so as I'm getting started, I'm going to be using turnkey companies as a stepping stone towards becoming more knowledgeable and more experienced. I definitely don't think I'll be using turnkey providers for the rest of my career. So many people start off their rental real estate journey with a really hands-on approach where they're doing all of the renovations and all of the property management, and then they gradually become more hands-off as their portfolio begins to grow. Now, you're welcome to disagree with me, but I'm going to be taking the opposite approach. I'm going to be learning from people that have far more experience and knowledge than I do, for instance, really high quality turnkey companies. And then as I grow as an investor, I'll take a more hands-on approach and stop using turnkey providers and start doing more of the hands-on work myself. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it below and subscribe to follow along on my journey.